Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we have playa props here for you guys on a Thursday night in the NBA playoffs. We are looking to stay super hot with these. Hopefully you are following along. Like and subscribe to that page to continue to get each of these videos that we're bringing you guys. We are also putting the picks up on the site on thelines.com. So head over there, check everything out we've got for you guys up on the site these days. Also want you to use the odds finder tool on there. That's what you can use to make sure you're getting the best odds available to you from all of these books that are giving us bets in the NBA this season. Nate, I'm going to run through last night, especially because I'm happy to say I had a nice sweep, so I'm very happy to talk about this. You were very close, but Drew Holiday came through super well for us with his 15 combined rebounds and assists. He was all over the place, also had an ass ton of points. We got plus 110 on a bet that you felt very comfortable with there. AD went comfortably under his 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists, which we had a unit and a half on as well. Bam did not come through as the Miami Heat continue to just be as crazily inconsistent as possible and can't win 2 games in a row for some reason. So he failed to go over his rebounds and assists or the double-double obviously there. But Gabe Vincent managed to get his props, which I was not worried about because they were so low for him. He got the time he needed, which was not very much because not very many starters played, but he got over 10 points. He also got the plus 380 for us on the 15 plus points with 16 to end the game before they took everybody out and stopped playing them. Thank God he got just over that so we could get the 3.821 on our money in that and continue to roll along. So let's jump right into your first NBA play-up prop for the night.
Yeah, I'm going with Tobias Harris, and this is kind of hinging on the Nets continuing their strategy of doubling Joel Embiid, which helped them hold him to 20 and hold the Sixers to 96 in game 2. Gave them a chance. They just couldn't score on the other end, which led to a ton of rebounds. So 20.5 points in rebounds is plus 100 for Tobias. I think he can get there either way. If you do think he can get another double-double, because he had 12 boards with the Nets struggling to score. And a double-double, again, is plus 1,000 at DK. I would put maybe a quarter of a unit on that, sure. I mean, he averages 8.5 boards along with 18 points in his playoff career with Philly. Last year, the pretty low usage rate with Maxey ascending. This year, it's up from 19% so far in this series. It's nearly 23%, his usage rate. He's taken 14 field goals in both games, and he's shooting an incredibly high percentage, 8 for 14, 9 for 14. That's good for 20.5 points on its own. So a rebound on top of his average, and you're good there. He's a plus 21 in this series. He's attacking Cam Johnson, who you also like to score. He's going to be out there for his offense, but he's not a plus defender. He's a 114 defensive rating since joining the Nets, and Tobias should be able to attack him. The Sixers are going to need him as a fourth option. They need him to do exactly this, right? To make defenses pay for doubling Embiid and Harden. And Harden deferred in game 2. Maxey went off. I expect him to come down a little bit in terms of his hot shooting. But I think it's going to be there for Harris in terms of open threes and just being able to attack the rack against the Nets team that's generally not very good protecting the rim and also generally gives up a ton of rebounds. Because like I mentioned with Embiid, they're dead last in field goal percentage since the All-Star break.
Yeah, and there were plenty of rebounds to go around in that last game. And Tobias definitely, you like to see that stat for him, that he's been getting those, especially in this series, because if he's going to be out there, he's going to have to do more than score. I know he was definitely a focal point of the offense after James Harden proved that he was not making anything in that game. And Tobias continues to shoot over 50% from the field. So like he'll continue to get those points, but like the rebounds is what you love to see, because like you would just love to be able to play him out there and not always need PJ Tucker to be out there if you do want, some offense at times, essentially, or a slightly versatile defender, because PJ Tucker, as big as he is not going to be able to really guard as many people on the perimeter like he used to be able to. And so if Tobias Harris is out there getting rebounds, then you might not need PJ Tucker all the time or quite as much, which you saw him only play 22 minutes in that last game, which was really good for Tobias, showing that like he can be out there and rebound alongside Joel, who had 19 in that game because of the abysmal shooting that we had there in game 1. I am going to move on to my first pick here, Nate, and talk about Mr. Devin Booker. You do not agree with me. That's fine. He's going 29.5 points. I'm going under on that. I don't think Devin will get 30 in this game. I know he had 38 last game, and I know he used a big second half to get there because that was the only way he was going to do that after not scoring quite as many in the first half. But, at this point, he's only reached this prop in 4 of his last 5 against the Clippers. I think that's super relevant. He's averaging 21 points a game in that time in 35 minutes. Now, he's got 44 minutes on average in the first 2. We'll see if they're going to, if he can continue to play that amount of time. I imagine that at the very least he will have to. I do agree that maybe he's more likely to go off than KD at times because of the fact that they're so focused on KD with Kawhi. But I'll throw a couple things at you to see what you think about the way that he's been guarded in this series. In game 1, Russ guarded him. He guarded him the most of anybody as the primary defender, limited him to under this total, and only gave up 4 points in the 7.5 minutes that he was the primary defender on Book. In game 2, they took Kawhi off of KD a bunch more, so that for about a couple minutes a game in game 2, so that Russ could spend more time on KD for some reason. I'm not really sure what that was. You kind of made the point with Russ that we're going to have to Clippers fans are going to have to suffer through what he's doing on offense as a quick side tangent. And I would agree, he's the guy that you're just man, when he's making shots, we're almost more upset as a team because now he's just going to think he has a green light to keep shooting. Either way, he's going to be out there for all the minutes, but I do think he's going to be doing it on Book because when he got there in game 2, that did not work for them. Booker went off on Eric Gordon and Terrence Mann, who could not come close to guarding him. And then if Zubac got switched on him, it was game over. 8 points on in 50 seconds of Zubac being the primary defender because it happened 4 different times where he went 4 for 4 and just either got a layup or a mid-range, which is what he was looking for. So I think Russ goes back out there to just hamper Book, including what we saw at the end of that game 1 where he blocked him, threw it off him, won the game for the Clippers. Why did they take him off of Booker? I'm not really sure. And also just bringing up how much better the Clippers are at home on defense, where they have the best home rating, 110 points per game that they're allowing, and a top 5 defense at home in terms of limiting the opposing team from 15 to 24 feet, which is where Booker owns multiple mansions and spends the majority of his time and life is from 15 to 24 feet out there. So I think it's a good opportunity for the Clippers and Ty Lue to make an adjustment that was look, KD's going to have a big game, and if Kawhi's not going to spend all day on him, then either put him on Book or at least have Russ on Book and not on KD. And I think he's going to be taking a look at the same stuff I am and realize that.
Let me recite to you the record from what Josh said 10 minutes ago about this game. The Suns could score only 101, and Booker and KD could have 62 of those. So, yep. 30 points is a lot. I just don't think that this is a preferred bet for me because, multiple reasons. Because there's no Paul George. There's nobody to guard Booker in the series. Russell Westbrook got the better of him, I guess, in game 1. Really just lit a fire. The Clippers guarded the mid-range well, so he stepped back and hit 4 threes, which is out of character for him. Also 6 for 6 at the line, also punishing switches because Russ is not that guy. He's not going to be a stopper. 3, Kevin Durant is still in defer mode because he's joined the Suns. Book has been the established man in the playoffs. He has multiple 40-point games in the finals with this team. He does fluctuate wildly if you look at his game log, and he will go below 30 more often than not. I just think in this series, in this situation where the Suns are going to get 6 points off the bench, if they have any chance, they're going to look to get 30 from both those guys. So if you think the Suns are winning this game, I would not go under here.
I don't know that I think they're winning this game, to be honest. I think there's a little bit of value on the money line there for the Clips. I do think depth will matter a little bit for them. So I hear all your points, but I also loved that a number of them started with, he does do the things that indicate he might go under here, but you're believing in him. And I'm fine with that, but I'm also believing in a big KD game tonight. I don't believe he'll defer. He didn't defer in the first half of last game. He deferred in the second half, and that's where Book started to do the bulk of his work. So it's possible, we'll see either way, but another fun battle on that one.
I agree the scales should tip back. Maybe Durant outscores Book. Maybe you want to look at Durant as the leading scorer for this game and see what that bet is. But we're moving on here to the Dubs. And with Draymond out, I'm looking for Andrew Wiggins to step up as a rebounder and get 7 boards for you. Put a half unit on this. Because he's still working his way back into game shape, right? Don't know if he'll be able to go as hard as he did in the playoffs last year, but we remember what he did, against those Celtics, who are also a high-scoring offense. 18.5 points, 7.7 rebounds per game. His last 14 in the playoffs last year. Look at his last 9 without Draymond. He is averaging 6.5 rebounds in the regular season. 7 of those were on the road. The 2 home games, he had 18 boards against Milwaukee and the Clippers. Pretty good rebounding teams. He averages 0.6 more boards at home versus on the road. The Dubs as a team average 4 more boards at home versus on the road because their defensive rating is 10 points better per 100 possessions. They only have 41 rebounds per game as a team in this series, despite it being played at a 102 pace. Kings are going to continue to try to push that pace, so there should be opportunities, and they're pretty vulnerable against small forwards, are the Kings. Wiggins has averaged 25 and 6 his last 4 regular season against this team, including 25 and 10 in 40 minutes in November. So I'm looking for another huge minutes performance from him. I think that's what the Warriors need. It's a question of whether he has his win now after 2 games under his belt to give it to them, but I do think he can give them enough rebounding in a game that we both expect to go under 240, and therefore for there to be a lot of rebounds if these teams are going to play at a 100 to 102 pace.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What's really weird to me is that his rebounds are at 6.5. His points are at 18.5. So if he gets 19 and 7, that's 26. But his combo prop for points and rebounds is at 27.5. I'm sorry, that they added an assist in there. It is 26.5. Okay, we're back. Math. But more importantly, I agree. Someone's going to have to rebound tonight, man. Gary Payton's going to be out there. He's going to be flying all over the place defending. He'll probably get a few. Clay and Steph are going to have to come in and rebound, who are both wildly underrated rebounding guards, especially Steph Curry. But outside of Kevon Looney, like JaMychal Green's going to get some time. Anthony Lamb might get some run, but like Wiggs is going to be the second best rebounder on this team every second that he's on the floor, and the best rebounder probably when Kevon Looney is not out there, which I don't know if Kevon can give you more than roughly 32 to 35 minutes anyway, as a starting center and only center at this point. Really has been. So Wiggs is going to be out there for minutes. Like, sorry if you're in shape or out of shape, bro. Hope you were on the treadmill while you were gone, because like you're going to be needed out there a lot tonight. And there's zero chance to me that he plays less than 40 minutes, right? Like I think he's definitely getting out there for that. And with the under as something that we both like as well, then there's going to be more boards. And probably less assists for Steph Curry, which is my second prop. And I'm taking an under on Steph Curry in the playoffs. And I'm not doing it with his points. I do think there's something to be said for under 37.5 points and assists, but I also don't have the balls for that because he could score 33 and it would surprise 0 people. So I'm just going to go for the assist because I get plus money on him to get under 8 assists, which is a lot of assists. And you have to start with what happens when he does play without Draymond. And you would think, well, Draymond's not out there getting assists, so he's probably got to get more. And it's like, nope, that's not how it works. Draymond's out there doing things that you can't even see him doing at times unless you're really looking for it. Like I said, the hockey assist in terms of making the right pass to Steph to put him in a position to either be wide open to score or have a defender running at him, run to the rim, feed it, whatever, right? Like that's how Steph gets his assists a lot more than just bring the ball up, play make, and then dish. Like that's not Steph Curry's type of point guard. So he needs Draymond out there for assists. He gets 1 more assist per game with Draymond, which is 6 when Draymond's out there, and 5 without him in the last 2 seasons, which there's a sizable amount of games that he's played, roughly 45 without Draymond in the last 2 seasons. He's recorded this number once in the last 8 games versus Sacramento. He's recorded this number once in the last 8 times he's played without Draymond Green. There is no way that Mike Brown is going to let him cross half court without having someone inside of his jockstrap and another person already with their eyes on him, ready to double by the time he gets to the bottom of the circle, or the Dubs logo is what I mean. So you saw it in the first game. He already received a ton of double teams in the first game, making him get the ball out of his hands. He's still very good. He had Draymond Green out there to help him get open. I still think he's going to get open, but they're going to need points. And I don't think he's going to get into a place where he's able to get down low and then just start diming people. I think he's going to be chucking a ton of threes, and he's probably going to need to make like 7 of them for this team to win tonight. Like I said, they're going to be hard pressed to get points. I think they're going to be working their asses off for everything they get. Last thing I will say is my boy Davion Mitchell out of Baylor. Love Davion, wonderful defender. Game 1, played 21 minutes, not enough for him. Steph had 0 points in the 3 minutes that Davion was guarding him as the primary defender. In game 2, Mike Brown knew that he had to play Davion more, jumped his minutes up to 28. Steph scored 4 points in the 7 minutes that Davion was guarding Cunningham, and Davion was the leading scorer in that game, holding his Steph to 28. I say holding to 28 because his prop was at 29.5, where it is tonight for the points. And once again, we'll never feel comfortable taking an under on Steph Curry points, to be honest with you. But the assists, I feel pretty good that he can get under 8, and I get plus 115 on BetMGM.
I like this one. I know you said I was hating on both of your props, but no, I think this makes sense when you look at his game log. It's, he spikes with 8 assists. Like, that's his ceiling pretty much. And especially at home, like you said, with Draymond out, I don't know how this one's going to shake out. Honestly, I think there's a lot of emotions involved, but I think there is definitely a scenario where the Dubs just do that third quarter avalanche and then it's over. And the Kings, who have no experience in that kind of in that road environment in the playoffs, maybe they're not really ready for that kind of punch, even with Draymond out, that the Warriors can deliver, because they've been a perplexing home road team all year. And yeah, I mean, so far, if it is a close game, Mike Brown's defense has done a great job forcing 5 turnovers in both games from Steph and 8 total assists in 2 games, despite a huge usage rate, despite the ball being in his hands all the time. So plus 115 is fine for me on a number that he tends to go under.
Yep. Awesome. All right, great. We're in agreement on the last one. Feeling good about both of them, but we'll see how we do tonight. Hopefully we can stay super hot with you guys. We are up combined like 10.5 units in the last 4 nights of making these picks in the playoffs. So continue to follow along, as that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. And until we see you next, happy betting.